Hi everyone, it's Casey. How are you today? My life has settled down just a little bit. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. I started a new job this week, went on vacation, so it's been really crazy. Finally sort of back in my normal routine, except for it's like 80, almost 90 degrees here today, which is very strange for May. So I'm kind of holed up in the house with the air conditioner on. Although when it's nice like this, I hate being trapped in the house. It's not like working all winter where you want to be inside. So anyway, I wanted to make a video, a new video about pull strings. I made a video a while back about what type of strings I buy for the pull strings on my Blythe doll. And then I had someone comment, I don't know if it was on YouTube or if they sent me a message, and they said, why don't you sell pull strings in your shop? And I always really enjoy when people message me and tell me things like that or suggest things like that, because sometimes when we are doing our own business, we don't really see those kinds of things because it seems very obvious that I would sell them in my shop. So I did some sourcing and I ordered a bunch of different supplies. And I also ordered some pre-made pull strings with beads already on them. So I just wanted to kind of show you what's going to be listed in my shop, hopefully today. These pull strings were made by my friend Debbie. We traded for some product. So the way that they come is with 2 strings. They're already beaded, and you'll just undo the twisty tie and attach them to your doll. Super simple. Or I'm going to have a couple different options for buying the strings to do it yourself. So I bought these smaller spools, and so the small spools are about 10 meters on there. You really don't need a lot of string for your doll, and unless you're making a lot of dolls, one spool of even the small one is probably going to last you quite a long time. So I'm going to have probably 3 options. I'm going to have small spools. These larger ones are actually 45 meters, which is a ton of string. So I'm going to offer the large ones if you want to buy the whole spool. But then what I'm thinking about doing is, because I bought extras, I bought a few of each just to see how this goes, is offering probably around $1, maybe less, for a meter. So I will just pull it off, measure it, and send it to you. And one thing that'll be nice about that is you don't then have to invest in all the colors yourself, and you don't have to know what color you want and have to buy an entire spool. So, because a lot of times when I'm making a doll, I want a specific color and I only have a few colors here, or I did only have a few colors. So I think I'm going to try that. So there'll be kind of 3 options, and we'll see what you guys like the most. And then the 4th option will be these finished pull strings. So I haven't figured out pricing quite yet, how that's gonna go, but I just got done photographing all of these, so they should be up in my shop, I'm hoping tonight, or at least by the end of this weekend. So then I thought I might kind of show you how to change the strings on your doll if you were to buy one of these and you're not a customizer. So the other thing I want to mention before we do that is that I have been told by a couple of people that this string does wear out on their Blythe dolls after a while. So I've been trying to contemplate ways to maybe reinforce this string, and I'll show you what I'm thinking when we try to do this on a doll. So let me grab a doll for us to work on, and we'll change the strings as if we're not a customizer. Okay, so let's pretend this is your doll, and either she's brand new and only has 1 string, or maybe she's a custom that has 2 pull strings but you just want to change them. You are going to have to take the doll apart unless you want to attach a string to this one. You could cut this one off and attach a new one, and you know, they would just be tied together. But if you're really wanting to completely change them, you will have to take her apart, which is what usually makes people that are new to customizing the most nervous. So let's go through it. I know I've gone through it before. Let's do it again because it's still something I get asked a lot. You will have to take her screws out. Now this particular doll is one that's kind of pieced together from parts that I had. So she only has 2 screws here in the back, but she would have another one here, and her scalp would be the same color right now. She just has one on that didn't come with her. So then you actually have to push on the doll until you start to hear it pop. And sometimes there's no noise, sometimes it just comes apart like that. I recommend putting the head on a cloth or a towel while you're doing this because it will make it softer. So you have to kind of decide if you're doing sleep eyes, which would be 2 strings, or if you're just replacing the 1 string. And the reason is because if you want to do the 2 strings, then you are removing a spring that's inside. If you want to just leave it and just change 1, then you have to be very careful about the spring inside that you can see there. The spring is what helps her eyes change, and when we remove that spring, if we don't do sleep eyes with 2 strings, then her eyes don't change. So we want to decide now. Most of the time, if you're going to be changing the strings, you're going to remove that spring, so it's not a big deal. You also have to remove the screw for the scalp to take it off, and now you'll see inside, here's the spring that we're going to remove. Here's the 1 string that's coming in. So let's take this spring off. And since you're getting rid of it, doesn't really matter if you damage it, so you can just sort of pull it off. And then because we're changing the strings, you can go ahead and just cut this this other string, or get it all taken apart first. So you don't actually have to take the eye mechanism out to change the strings, but this one is a little bit hard to get in if you don't. But let's try it without doing that to make it easy. Let me grab my scissors. I'm recording on my son's table because the light is starting to fade and it's better over here, so I don't have all my tools next to me. Okay, so we've cut the string off, and if you can get your fingers in there to pull it out, you just want to pull that out of there. So now the place we want to put the 2 new strings is, one is going to go here in that hole, and that's what's going to do what the spring did and spring the eyes open. This one that goes down back in here, like the one that came from the factory down there, is going to be the other one, and that's the one that changes the eyes. That one is going to be the hardest one to get in, so we might have to take the eye mechanism out, but let's try without having to do that. So I'm going to choose some pull strings, and this is how they will come to you if you buy them. And you want to untwist the twisty tie. And here's your strings, nice and long. They are the same type of strings, so you don't have to worry that they're gonna fit or not. In general, you can put a thicker string here. This hole is not as important as the other one. It's not going to matter what size you use or how you tie this one as much as it will on the other. The only thing you're gonna wanna be careful about is how long you're making your string. Okay, so one of the things that is difficult is you have to actually put it through the back part first, otherwise you won't be able to get the beads through. So you want to make sure that your doll is ready, and then you only have a couple options to, this is a screw hole, so you don't want to put it through there. This is where the original string goes through, but normally you can't fit two through there. So you're going to have one going through here and one going through here. So I think what's happening with people that have these strings wearing out is that they're putting it through here, and this is a little bit sharp, and after pulling many times, it's sort of wearing out the string. So if you can fit them both through here, it's better, just because that metal piece is smoother and it's not letting it get damaged. So you can try to get them through there. If not, then you'll have one going through there. So the reason you need to go through the back plate first is because obviously the beads are finished, and you probably want to be ready to put your doll together when you do this. So you can hold it up and, you know, put your body there so you can hold your doll up so that you can kind of see how long the string is going to be. It's definitely personal preference, but I try to make my strings not too long so that they don't show when I'm photographing the doll. So that would probably be about right. The only thing to remember is you can't really change it once you cut it off. So once you tie this and cut off the excess, you really can't go back and change it unless you want to redo the strings. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to tie it on here, but leave the excess so that I can get it back off and sell this one in my shop. So you tie it on like that with probably a double knot, and then cut off this excess, which I'm not going to do right now. The next one, again, if you can get it to go through that hole with the other one, which you might be able to if you use a lighter, or even, I think I can do it. Ideally, they both go through the same hole, and I think that will cut down on the strings getting worn out. Let me grab my lighter. These strings are plastic coated, so they should get stiffened by a lighter. Just don't burn them too much. And if you kind of hold the other string kind of tight against there, you should be able to get it through. There we go. So now they're both through that hole. And now you can kind of gauge the length of the other one. You also want to kind of strengthen that string for this next part. But again, you got to be really careful because it can bend very easily. Now, the importance of this next string is that the knot needs to be on the side with that little piece. So if you can kind of pull it up as best you can, and the stiffer the string from the lighter, the better it will go through. But this is the tricky part. So normally I do not do it this way. I would have the eye mechanism off. And so you don't really have to do it like this. And we might have to, I'm not even sure if we can do it this way. But I want to kind of make this as easy as possible for anyone who's not a customizer but just wants to do something like change. And I actually think maybe if we take off the T-bar, we don't have to remove the mech. Oh, I think it's going. There you can see it coming through. There. So that wasn't too hard. And now you're going to tie a knot in this side and pull it against there. I don't want to do it because I don't want to waste this set. So I hope it makes sense what I'm saying. You'll just tie this one into a knot, trim off the excess, and then pull it tight, and the knot will be there. So once you have done that, you'll have your strings here hanging out the back, and these will be cut off. So we'll just put them down inside there. And then all you have to do is put your scalp back on. So So let's kind of do that. We won't pull on this string since it's not tied. We'll just pretend. Oh, and for putting the scalp back on, one of the things I do, because it's really hard to get this screw in, is if you put that screw in just a little bit, you can position the scalp on top of it and it won't fall out. Scalp doesn't really fit this doll for some reason, even though they're same kind. And then that way once you do that, you can get in there and get that screw in. All right, now that's good. And then you just want to be careful with your strings here. And put your body back in, whatever body you're using. There we go. And you don't have to put her all the way back, but you'll want to snap her together and then you'll put your screws back in. And I don't want to pull on these because they aren't attached and they're coming kind of out more than we wanted because they're not tied. But basically that's all you'll do, and then you'll have your strings changed. It's pretty simple. Once you get past the fear of opening her, it's really pretty simple to change the strings. So I hope that made sense, even though we're kind of doing it not permanent on her. So let's take them back out. And you know, if you put them in and you think you have them the length you want, you could always just not trim off totally the string on the inside, so that if they're not what you want, you could take it apart easily and make them a little bit shorter. So just keep that in mind. And so I hope this was helpful. I know it wasn't really completely, like I said, permanent. So if you have questions about what I've done, let me know. If you have questions about buying pull strings that are already made, let me know. And otherwise, these will be listed in my shop very soon. The other thing I want to tell you guys about before I go is that Blythe vs. Blythe 5 just ended. It was super fun. I didn't talk a lot about it on my channel because I just didn't have time, but it's ended now, and it was a boy event. So the event always has a theme. The theme of this event was actually April showers bring May flowers, but we were also celebrating boys and boy dolls. And I had these shirts made with the slogan, "Dolls are for everyone." And they've been pretty popular for people that weren't even part of the group. Sort of the message was that everyone is included in the doll hobby, boys, girls, and anything in between. So I just wanted to invite you, if you're interested in the message and this shirt, I do have them listed in my shop, and the proceeds go to running Blythe vs. Blythe and the group. And Blythe vs. Blythe 6 is coming up in August, so if you want more information, I've got the group set up, but I haven't released tickets yet, but it should be this weekend. So check out, I'll put a link below directly to the shirts. You don't have to be, as I said, a member of Blythe vs. Blythe. You can just be supportive of this message and want one of these shirts. So thanks as always for watching. Send me ideas if there's anything you want to see, or if anything was unclear, send me questions. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you all next week. Bye bye.